Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to EML. We are here tonight for season number 5. It is F1. It is round 2 of the championship as we take in the Australian Grand Prix from a land down under where the men go and the women plunder, or something like that. Anyways, my name is James Head, and I'm going to be taking you through the stream, of course, as always, on this fine Wednesday evening. Hope you're all doing well. And joining me in the commentary box in the land down under, it is Mr. Jamie Norris. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, mate, and how are you?
I'm doing really, really well. Excited for the action, given what we saw in Silverstone last week?
Oh yeah, the British GP was a thriller, and I can't wait to see what happens here tonight with the Shizuma and Tom fighting for the lead. And it turns out it was a really good race with strategy too. So I can't wait to see what happens in the next upcoming races because I think Tom went for the soft medium strategy, which really isn't introduced in these games. But he went for that aggressive strategy, almost paid out, but unfortunately got beat at the end. So let's see if he can make a comeback drive after that one. And it was Aurelien who took the victory at the British Grand Prix for an opener. He's here again here in Australia, and OP Nando took third place as well. So PSR looking really great too, along with Shizu and OP, the top 3 boys or the top 3 teams that were the top 3 places last race.
Yeah, definitely. So looking at the top 10, actually, for the drivers, Aurelien, Tom, Nando, the top 3 in the end. That is the classification from last week. A very handy tool, I think, to have as a commentator to show you guys on the screen in terms of what happened in terms of the post-race penalties, in terms of any notes that happened as well. Obviously, we had Paul and Twister getting disconnected as a result prior to rejoining the session. That was deemed absolutely fine. Their laps remain valid as well. Marquez was the only one that picked up a 5-second penalty. So his 5-second penalty, I think, was in 9th position in the end. He's dropped now down to 11th as a result of that. Outplayed Racing dropping the points as a result. What did that do to the championship standings, however? Well, Paradox Sim Racing, with the questionable future that they've got at the minute, you might have seen some of the comments on X recently about PSR and their future. PSR, what I can tell you, is definitely racing tonight, and they're definitely out on top in the standings on 44 points. Team Shizu in second on 31. Outplayed Racing in third on 29. Then FER in fourth on 28. Tied for fifth are NLR and ETA 5th and 6th on 21. Then G League in 7th on 15. PGS Sim Racing, alright, they have got 6 points as opposed to the graphic there. I didn't update it in time, unfortunately. WSC are in 9th on 5, and X Esports they're down in 10th on 2 points. And looking, of course, what happened last week, we can get underway, I think, because everyone is now in the lobby, which is really good to see. Everyone going to be running in the multiplayer cars again. But Paradox Sim Racing are rallying, taking that race win out on track, taking a podium as well as a result, meaning they're at the top of the tree. But with their questionable, with doubts around their future, Jamie, it is going to be very interesting to see how they get on tonight with all that pressure that has been put on them.
I was trying to message people at Discord so tell them to ready up because they're not ready up yet, so I'm not quite sure why they're not going. But which team were you talking about again? Sorry about that.
Paradox Sim Racing.
Oh yeah, PSR. So yeah, that's quite interesting. What were they formerly known as before?
They merged with Talon Factory. Talon Factory, of course, being a PlayStation-based team, of course, being in EML in the past as well. Paradox and Racing more on the Xbox side. They both merged together. Paradox and Racing, however, with the owner now leaving, has said, we want to retire the PSR name. So they may be PSR in name for tonight. Whether or not going forward they're going to be is a different thing.
Yeah, they are as well. So unfortunately, what happened to PSR, but hopefully they can come back stronger. Like you said, with a lot of pressure on too with the top tier team. So I'm telling everybody to ready up, and nobody is readying up. So I'm not quite sure what they're all doing there.
I will give them a bell. See if everyone is gonna actually ready up tonight. But there we are. They'll probably they'll probably see it from me and be like, "Oh yeah, James has told us to ready up. We better go." We are on a slight delay, but we are gonna be going very soon indeed. These drivers have been told to ready up. Now they're kicking themselves in gear in terms of that, which is good to see. And what is also good to see as well is the great grid that we've got on track here tonight. Now, of course, with the multiplayer car as it is, we are going to be running the multiplayer car tonight, and as the patch update, of course, I mentioned on Legacy Division, Codemasters has basically effed the game up, so therefore, with the equal setting, that is more on downforce and more on, I think, in terms of straight line speed as well, the realistic cars, the Red Bull, the Mercedes, and the McLarens that you see on the graphic, are no longer valid. So the drivers have been very creative, I've got to say, in terms of their liveries. Some may be running the same as Legacy Division as well. But the current grid is as follows. Dark and Sergio in for ET8. Brandok's a late replacement there for him. Tom there and Macho in for Shazoo. Then we've got Black Box and Rally in the same lineup last week for for PSR in the McLaren normally. Stefano and Devon in for FBR. They've got the Aston Martin livery, potentially a nice green livery going on there for them. Lucas and YCN are in for G League. Then Luca Kart and Flopman in for Outplayed Racing. Then Hugo and Shocks in for WSC. I think the same lineup as last week as well. Urpek and Gabrielle, very interesting lineup, given how Urpek got robbed of the race win in Legacy Division. I'm just going to put it out there. He got robbed last night with a puncture very late on. They, of course, NLR looking to try and reclaim their crown from Season 3. Tony and VBR in for X Esports, and then Paul and Lucas in for PGS as well. And looking at that grid, we have, of course, got the likes of PSR, the likes of FBR, the likes of Shazoo with a very strong team. But with PSR currently out on top, and with only one round gone, it's still all to play for.
Yeah, they've still got plenty of rounds to play for as well. So each driver will have their strengths and weaknesses on different tracks. Like Aurelian, for example, his best track he said was at the British GP. And what about Australia? What can he do here tonight? So we're about to see how the drivers get on around their circuit. Another street circuit, of course, with those two chicane. Well, that chicane being taken out when it was formerly known, I think, as Turn 9 and Turn number 10. And it's now flat out all the way down to Turn 9 and Turn 10. That fast chicane, one of the fastest chicanes, I think, here in Formula 1, if I could dare say, along with like Canada as well. And for Australian Grand Prix, first introduced in 1996, 5.3 kilometers long as well, and a lap record by Michael Schumacher with a 24.1. And it's going to be very interesting what drivers could do here tonight, obviously with the strategy too, the amount of safety cars that could come to play as well. So I can't wait to see how the events turn out here in Australia. And I think we've got the first man, which is Paul, out of the circuit in the Haas. So we're about to see what those two could do in the PGS grid.
Yeah, the PGS car with the purple, black and white, pretty much similar to the house style of the logo, which is very good to see. Good to see how these guys are getting creative as well in terms of their livery. For PGS there, all the first out on track, the likes of Stefano and Hugo coming out on track along with Aurelian, along with Black Box as well. So let's have a flick through and see what everyone's liveries are like. That is nice, actually, from Aurelian. PSO, I think, going pretty much in terms of the same livery, but I think a change up in the front wing there for PSR, but looks very nicely done indeed. I like Aurelian's more than Black Box, to be honest, for PSR. So whoever's done that has done a very good job. Hugo there for WSC, very similar livery actually to the PGS boys being run there by Hugo. Stefano for FBR running the plain purple livery, which is really nice actually, with the Highland Spring sponsorship on the left hand side as well. Sergio there in the Mercedes, or normally in the Mercedes, they're running the blue and black livery, of course, adjacent to the Mercedes. We are going to get the first runner, though, out on track is Paul. Will flick through everyone's liveries and take a mockery out of them as we go through. But it is Paul out on top and currently going for his first run. As I've just rewind the stream back there, it's everything. But we are going to go on board with Paul on the run now down in towards the right hander of turn number 1 and the left hander of turn number 2. I spun here in qualifying in League of Europe, so put it this way, Paul's done better than me coming through there. So now comes down in towards the right hand of turn number 3 at Whiteford Corner, in toward the Whiteford Complex. And this is actually a stadium complex coming through this part of the track, through the left hand of 4, through Whiteford Corner now at turn number 5, and then in towards the faster part of the section coming in towards turn number 6 and on towards Lakeside Drive we come with a 26.6 in the first sector. Down Lakeside Drive we will now come, of course, the chicane formally embarking on this circuit, no longer there, so it's just a flat right-hander, and now all the way down the straight. John Lacey famously ran out of fuel in 1996 for the first Grand Prix around here, as well as Martin Brundle having that bit of contact in the middle sector. 44 flat though in the middle sector from Paul, looking very, very good indeed. Now comes through the kink of 10 in towards the right-hander now of turn number 11. This curb comes at you very quickly indeed, sticks out basically out of the track, comes at you very late on indeed. Paul negotiated that curb nicely. Through now the right-hander of turn number 12, through the left-hander now of turn number 13, and then in towards cross corner at turn number 14, and looking very, very good on his lap. PGS man looking solid to the ground on the run towards the line. Should be around a 17.2, I think, to start off the night. Even quicker, 16.7 from Paul. Very good lap time to start off the night.
I think a 16 at this initial phase in qualifying is incredible. So that's a very good lap time there from Paul. Looked like he got it hooked up. I was on board with him too. So nice lap time from the hash driver of Paul there for PGS. And Stefano is also on a lap. I think majority now on our lap time. So you can see every single car on the circuit. And this is going to get very interesting. Hugo is up into P2 with a 17.4 then. So marginally away from Paul. But it is his first lap time. So I don't expect the first lap times to be that quick unless you can hook it up immediately and get on it straight away. We've got Stefano making his way around that final corner, then DRS enabled on the straight. Let's see what lap time he can set there for FVR. Cross the line now, it's at 16.5, so great lap time there, and just under 2 tenths quicker than Paul in P2. So yeah, what a great lap time from Stefano, already putting that mark already.
Huge snap of oversteer coming out the final corner from Morelli, and he would have been going slower than Paul actually in terms of his lap anyways, but a 16.9 probably cost himself a good 10th.5 there out on track. Blackbox in the very thinly run slipstream that he had from his teammate there going 5th. Devon there going 3rd as well, of course a specialist in EML last season for FBR, so looking very good so far. FBR 1st and 3rd. Tom is on the run as well, but he's actually invalidated coming out of turn number 11 as I've ridden on board with him there. Lucas is on the run toward the line, but he's again invalid. Outplayed Racing's Luca Kart on track as well. PSGL F1 man on the run towards the right-hander now of turn number 11. And Outplayed Racing have really been up against it. They had an absolute shocker last night in Legacy Division. Want to put that beside them in Qatar. Now here in Australia around a street track, they should try and really capitalise on their form from Legacy Division as now the OP man comes through the final corner. He's looking very quick on the run toward the line. Should put it, I think, 2nd with this lap time. In fact, he goes quicker than Stefano. Big lap time there from Luca Kart, 16.3. Very good lap by the OP man. And OP have not come to play whatsoever. They have come to try and demolish the opposition.
Yeah, they have indeed, leaving off where they left off back in the Silverstone Grand Prix as well. Flotman is an OP 1-2, and that's so close as well. 16.3, a few hundreds quicker than his teammate Luca in P2. So OP looking really good so far, dominating that front row. And some people went to the pit lane. I saw Sergio in P16 there, lost his front wing. I don't know where he lost it, but he's back in the pit lane. I think Macho in P10 also was one down in the pit lane. Shizu Tom invalidating his lap time as well. PGS Lucas, also another driver. So half the field, they're not setting a lap time, but I think Lucas is about to, as he rounds off the final corner, to see what lap time he could set to try and match Paul in P4. Let's see where he can go. He's going to pop that car into P9 with a 17.3, 2 laps on those set of soft compound tires then, and GL Luke Haster goes into P6, so great lap time, also doing 2 laps of a set of soft compound tyre too. You can see a lot of people not setting a lap time early on in qualifying because a lot of them making mistakes with the validations too, which is costly around here, and it's quite brutal with the validations too. NLR Erpek is also on a lap time too, so you can see one of those drivers who haven't set a lap time either. Erpek was watching that Qatar Grand Prix, leading the race ahead of Sam Gamer, and Luca Cart's left the session. I think he crashed at the final corner. You can see his stationary car there too. So the OP man is out. David Coulthard.
Yeah, that is pit lane Adelaide. I think David Coulthard, 1993, if I'm not mistaken. Erpek, by the way, is looking very quick and a much better livery from NLR as well. 10 out of 10, I've got to say, for them. Has now come through the right-hander of turn number 11 and then in towards the right-hander of turn number 12. And Erpek looking very, very decent on this lap. We're going to try and put the drama and the controversy from last night in Legacy Division and his puncture back into the backwash, and he will look to try and go quicker than Flopman on the run toward the line, and he goes 4th. So behind Stefano, not too far off him actually, 300ths of a second between Stefano there and Erpek 3rd and 4th. Flopman though out on top, Luca Card in 2nd, the OP guys are currently 1 and 2, Stefano there in 3rd, Erpek there in 4th, and a fun fact for everyone, because I know you love the fun facts there in the chat, Flopman, formerly G League, now with OP, and he's topping the session. So G League's loss, OP's gain.
Yeah, indeed, mate. And ETA Dark has a ball with him. He's also invalidated his lap time too, so he won't get a run on there. He's also one of those drivers who haven't set a lap time either, so under big pressure there. We've still got a lot of time left. 10 minutes left in this qualifying session, but those guys down there haven't got a reference point or a banker to compare it to, so those guys there will be wanting to get a lap time. I think Shocks in P19 is going for a lap time for him. So, yeah, Erpek has done 2 Qatar Grand Prix in the past few days, because back in IRT Esports, I think it was on Sunday, he also did Qatar. He won the Grand Prix as well with the help of his teammate Giovanni. Then also on Tuesday, yesterday, he took part in Qatar. Then we saw him with the puncher. I think on the last lap. Oh, Shocks there, invalidated. There's a lot of traffic ahead of him. So did he get a bit well, did he get to get caught out? Look at the livery on his car. If anybody has a purple livery, that's an automatic win for me because that's my name really. So any of those cars have a purple livery, automatic 10 out of 10.
Could you class it as indigo, though, as the colour? Probably not. It's more like a lightish purple, I think, rather than an indigo colour. But still, Hugo there in 12th. Not a bad lap time from him. He's actually invalidated through the middle sector there, 17.4. Man to watch out for, though, tonight for Team Chazoo is Macho. And he's got Wall of Champions right in front of him, which, around here, probably not the best sort of motivation that you can have right in front of the cockpit. But we'll see what Macho can do in the Chazoo livery now, coming through the left-hand return number 4. And actually, he's running a completely different livery to what we should be seeing from Chazoo. Now, normally Chazoo are the red and blue colour, the neon sort of like colour. Macho running more like a Mercedes sort of type livery here, but looking nicely done, coming through the right-hander now of turn number 8, then through towards turns 9 and 10 at the chicane. Down Lakeside Drive we come, on board with Macho. He is one of the ones to watch out for, certainly in terms of his lap time, and a 44.2 in the middle sector. Up there with Flopman, up there with Lucacar, up there with Stefano in that middle sector. So Macho looking good at this point in time. Gabriel also just done up on a lap coming through the first sector. But Macho coming through the right-hand return of 11. Currently 13th, not with a lap time on the board. We'll see more improvements, of course, as the session goes on. But Macho now coming into the left-hander of turn number 13 at Senna. Then through the 14 at Prost as he now comes through the final corner on the run toward the line. Avoiding there. That was a wheel of, I'm assuming, Lucacar who crashed in the pit lane. Macho to the line. He goes 11th. 17-1 and 11th. That looked a quicker lap than what I was actually thinking there.
Yeah, so in that first sector, it just looked like he just went slightly wide coming out of turn 13 and a lot of wheel spin too for good measure. And these times are quite close too, so it might give an indication why he's down there in P11 still. It's his first lap time on the board, so at least he's got that banker in there, but it's only P11 like you said, so he'll be looking for an improvement with 7 minutes left to go in the session. Gabriel is in P16 for NLR. Let's see where he could go. Can he match his teammate in P4 who's currently in Erpek in P4? The 60.5 Black Box goes to P6 with a 60.7 just ahead of Devin. But we've got Gabriel now coming towards the line. It's a 16.9 and he goes into P11 just ahead of Macho there in P12. So you can see some people still in the 17. So Chazoo Tom has validated once again. So it looks like Australia proving not to be a great track for him. He's quite low on EOS and fuel, so he'll be diving off to the pit lane at the end of this lap time. So it's not looking great. OP Flopman now is on a lap time coming through turn 4. Ignore the background noise. That's a helicopter going through there. Going into turn 6 then, nicely committed through there. And let's see how he takes it with a few hundreds down in the first set. So, oh, it's a bit wide there. It's a validation too for good measure. So that's his lap time done and dusted. Stefano also validated too. Erpek's on a lap time as well. So are you going to go on board with him, James?
Yeah, Erpek just done up on his lap, coming through Whiteford Complex now at turns 4 and then Whiteford Corner at turn number 5. Flopman and Lucacar currently out on top. Flopman currently not flopping, unlike the helicopter, I've got to say, in the background. Erpek coming through the first sector though, 26.5, faster than what we've seen so far from everyone. So Erpek in the first sector is up. This middle sector, normally you can get away with a little bit of bringing your teammate into play and giving yourself a little bit of slipstream. I did this in Red Bull in League of Europe, and in the end got 6/10 per second running down that straight alone in terms of straight line speed. Believe it or not, yes, I had very much a low downforce setup on as the cloud cover begins to build over the circuit. Could see a thread of rain towards the end of this session, but Flopman leading, Lucacar second, Stefano there in third. Erpek is still looking good. He was 300s up out of the middle sector, missing the apex there at turn number 12. Just going to set him back slightly. Coming through the left-hander now of 13, in towards the right-hander now of turn 14 through the final corner. Can the NLR man come out on top? He was out on pole, of course, in the sprint in Lexi Division last night. Can he go on top? No, he can't, but he goes 4,000th quicker than Stefano with a very good lap time there from Erpek. Third position. Flopman, though, still out on top. Lucacar there in second. Erpek there in third. Paul now's just done up on a lap as well. 16.7 currently his personal best. And actually the same lap time as a Black Box out there in seventh. So Paul now looking to try and rectify that. And he's a 10th up in the first sector. 26.5 in the first sector. Huge from the PGS man.
Yeah, so that's great there. You can see marbles on his tyres then as we cascade into the middle sector, then just ending it off. Let's see what lap time he could do in that middle sector. It's going to be a 43.9, a 10th up as well, 10, almost 10 and a half in that middle sector. A lot of commitment going to that chicane as well. So Erpek in that chicane, just a bit hesitant as he entered it now. We're coming to the heavy braking zone as it's been modified since 2019, I think it was. I think it was modified in 2022 when they changed the track completely as we head into this right-hander. Then sit gear, he takes it, lean on the curb, bring it to the right, then slow it down. It's a slow left-hander, kiss the apex. What a careful traction and up into fourth gear for short shifted. A lot of wheel spin on the exit too with good measure. DRS enabled then. DRS was first introduced back in 2011 around here in Australia, and he goes up into P5. Just one position gain there for Paul in P5, but still it was a good lap time. By the way, Luca caught in P2 despite retiring early on in his qualifying session and only doing one lap time, I believe it was to my knowledge. He's still in P2 then, so that first lap was pivotal for him because that mistake could put him down the order with the track evolution still kicking in too. So despite that error, he's still in P2 and a 16.3 looking comfortable. We've got El Raylan in the first sector. He's a few hundred sort of purple as well. The man who won at the Silverstone Grand Prix with a 16.9 then. So can he make amends to that one as we've got DRS enabled then? 4 DRS zones around here to make it even closer. I don't think we had DRS last year in that section either. There's a 43.9, so he's a 10th and a half up as he takes coming into turn number 10. Nice taking a lot of curve on the entry to stabilise the cars. We enter turn 11 now for Aurelian, braking at the 100 metre board. We head down and you can see there a lot of wheel spin on the exit too as he went very deep into that corner too as we head into turn 12 and now turn 13. Very slow speed corner. It's easy to lock the rears up through that section now. We're heading into the final corner. Let's see what that time PSR Aurelian can do as he makes his way now towards the line. Is it going to be high up in the 16s? Let's see. Oh. It's 16.2! What? Yeah. I don't know what he did in that final sector, but that magic, unbelievable.
Where did he find that final sector from? 6 tenths up in the end. He was only a 10th and a half up, I think, coming out of the middle sector. Huge lap from Aurelian, and the Frenchman, the F1 Esports Challengers man in 2023, comes out on top so far, but Flopman there in second, Luca Cart there in third. We lost Hugo out of the session there in all of that as well. He spun exactly at the same point as Luca Cart did. Must have got caught on the outside curb, had a bit of traction spin, coming out through the final corner. It's such a hard thing to do, and this is something I reference in our notes as well for commentary. It is such a hard thing to do. You've got to get the traction basically out of every corner. Turn 3, 4, and 5 are not too bad. Coming through this part on board with Stefano, who's the next up currently on a lap time. But the traction zones around here, you get one bit wrong in terms of the traction, you're a goner. Same with Hugo, same with Luca Cart, currently gone out of the session. 3rd and 16th position currently for them. But Stefano was up in the first sector. He's hung a little bit back, actually, running down the straight. It looks like there's rain, actually, on the screen. It is not. It is just the pure... The whiteness and all of the track coming over and the light coming over the livery of the car. Stefano now coming through the middle sector was up again, and Sergio was another one that has retired. I believe that is actually out on track coming through the final couple of corners. He knows he's done enough, so Sergio there down is going to be retiring either in the pit lane or that is actually coming through the final couple of corners. I think it is in the pit lane, however. Stefano now comes through the final corner for the FBR team, currently in 5th position, 16.526. Is he going to go quicker than Erpek with this lap time? Yes, goes 3rd and goes quicker than Luca Cart and only 7,000th of a second off Flopman. So still all to play for in this session with a minute to go as Black Box is on a lap time. He just invalidated though coming out of turn 5.
Yeah, I think he's still got enough time to set into a lap time, has Black Box and cool the tyres down, regenerate some of that last part. No, he can't actually. There's 40 seconds left to go. So I think that is it for Black Box. I don't think he can go for another lap time then. So this is the closing stages in qualifying with every single driver, barring Aurelian, who's just pitted, is out there. So let's see who can snatch that pole away from Aurelian then. Like he was in Silverstone, left off to a good start there. And once again, taking pole for the time being. Erpek getting scurrily coming out of turn number 5. I just went to ball with him, and that cost him an invalidation. A bit of oversteer on the exit cost him an invalidation. So Black Box, I think, is also invalidated. So high pressure in these last stages of qualifying. A lot of people are currently invalidating their lap times, and let's see who's out there to closer to the line to try and take pole. We've still got 4 drivers who haven't set a lap time, but I think Tom's about to. He's heading off the final corner then with DRS. He hasn't got a lap time, but let's see where this could put down as Dark goes into P9 then, just pushing Tom outside the top 10.
There's hardly anybody improving. I think it's because of the track conditions actually changing. Flopman invalidated as well on his lap time. So Aurelian currently out on top. looks pretty safe, I've got to be honest for now. The only man I think that can threaten him, I was going to say, was Paul. But he's also invalidated on his lap time as well. We'll find on board with somebody else. Lucas now on the run toward the line for GL. On the run toward the line goes 7th. Good lap time there from the G League man. Also an improvement there from Bray. He didn't actually get a lap time in right down at the back end of the field. Gabriel as well as improving. 44 flat dead on in that middle sector is huge, but I don't think he's going to be troubling the front part. Maybe going into the top 10 if he is very much a sneak as he now comes through the final corner on the run toward the line. Then with the Brazilian is Enelor Gabriel going to top the session on the run to the line. Nearly does, 16.4. Good lap time actually in the end from Gabriel. They're in 5th position. I think everyone is actually down on their laps. Paul there, 10th and a half down. YCN has actually run out of fuel in terms of his run as well. And that, my friends, is the end of a very good qualifying session here in EML F1. It is Aurelian out on top. It's Flopman there in 2nd. It's Stefano there in 3rd. And Aurelian out on top by pretty much a hair's breadth, I think. Only, 600ths of a second covering the top 2 in the end.
Yeah, it's so close from P2 to P4 with the 16.3s, so that's marginally close between the two OPs, and Stefano and P3 just separating them both. By the way, I was so nervous about a 5-place grid penalty inbound for one there in P10 who's just entered the pit lane with no fuel, because Stefano and Juan were parked together at turn 12. They would just get out of the way. They parked offline together, and with them slowing each other down, I thought one of them was going to pick up a 5-place grid penalty, so I'm glad that never happened. But qualifying then should be done and dusted, and hopefully we can get into the race, because everybody's finished their lap times now. Majority of drivers, I think someone's pitted. We haven't retired just yet because one's pitted. So once he gets his garages, hopefully he presses retire and we can get going towards the race. But yeah, like you said, great qualifying. It was amazing to see those lap times flurrying in almost into the 15s as well. I definitely thought a 16 was going to be a pole, but I didn't expect it to be that low either. So great job from Aurelian, carrying off where he left off at the Silverstone Grand Prix, and once again showing some great pace here in Australia, Harbour Park. So I can't wait to see what happens at turn number 1. The OP guys are so close. NLR2 with Gabriel and Devon in Gabriel and Erpec down in P5 and P6. FPR, Devon and Stefano P3 and P6. So that's close between those guys. But PSR Aurelian then in P1, and it's currently going so great for him.
Yeah, definitely so. The Frenchman out on top. From the other Frenchman, a Flopman there in 2nd. Stefano there in 3rd with Luke there in 4th. Gabriel there in 5th. Devon there in 6th. Erpec in 7th. Then Lucas there in 8th. Good showing there from the G League man on his debut. Paulie there in 9th with YCN there in 10th. Then Doc, Sergio, Tom, Blackbox and Tony top 15. Match on the end. 8.5 tenths down. 16th position. Disappointing from the Shazoo man's perspective. Lucas, Hugo, Shocks, and Bray didn't get that lap time in. He's right down at the back end of the field. We're going to go for a slight intermission break. It should be about 30 seconds. You'll hear no music because of a copyright strike from last week, but we'll be back, I promise you, in 30 seconds. And welcome back, everyone, to EML Premier 1. Thanks to our sponsors, of course, of Next Level Racing. And as you can tell, the rain gods have come and followed us from here in the north of England all the way down south and all the way down under as well. Here in Australia, the rain gods are here, and the intermediate compound tyres are the tyres to be on for tonight. But it is raining out on track, and that means two things. One, these drivers are probably running dry setups and they're going to be absolutely all over the place in the race. And two, it makes everything a hell of a lot more spicier.
Yeah, it does indeed. Could we see a wet race transferred into a dry race as well? I always like to see it. I don't like to see wet throughout the entirety of the event. I like to see a mixture of strategies too. And let's see then what happens. They had no rain back at the Silverstone Grand Prix last time out. We definitely got rain this week in the UK. It's definitely pouring down. But here we are in Australia then, pouring down on the circuit. Let's see. I think the intermediates judging by conditions are the ones to go. I don't think it's a substantial amount of I don't think it's a substantial amount to go on the wet tyres, so I think it's the Inter. So I think it is the Inters because outside the garage I can see there's Inter tyres on the side there just prepared. So intermediates we are, and let's see how the drivers make it down at turn 1. I think it'll be a tentative start for all the drivers, so I can't wait to see how it all evolves towards the end of lap 1 with all drivers jostling for position.
Yeah, you'd like to think so, but these guys, in the end, from dry to wet, this is going to be like a skating ring, quite literally, potentially in towards turn 1. Remember Ralph Schumacher over the top of Rubens Barrichello? Oh, here we go, with the 5 red lights are actually going out here for round number 2. It is Australia, and it is... Lights out, away we go in a rally and gets a good start. Not as good a start as Flopman, though. He might draw alongside in towards turn number 1. Stefano's got a good start as well, but a rallying in the second phase leads in towards turn 1. Flopman there in second, Stefano there in third. They take it easy in the front pack. I think everyone's got through turns 1 and 2 safely. Macho dropping down the field along with Black Box. Maybe in a little bit of contact there with Macho at the back end of the field, but a rallying leads in towards turn number 3 for the first time. Flopman there in second, Stefano there in third. They now Constantine up in behind the side-by-side between Gabriel and Devon. The FBR man nearly shoved out the way there by the NLR man, tries to go all the way around the outside. Black Box already with a 3-second penalty. PSR not starting off great with one man, certainly starting off at the top end with another. There's a rallying lead from Flopman there in second, Stefano there in third, but tucked underneath the rear wing is the Frenchman on the back of his fellow countryman, and it is G League against PSR early on. Sorry, OP I should say, against PSR early on. But Flopman on the back of a rally and can't find the way through in towards turn number 9. A rally in leads. Flopman there in second. Stefano there in third, but he's still tucked underneath the rear wing. Coming out of turn number 9, and he might try and attack in towards turn number 11 at the right hander at the end of the straight here at a Ascari corner. A rallying leading from Flopman. Looks to the inside line, but a rallying positions his car to absolute perfection and holds the race lead for now. Great racing though out on track. Devon there in 5th. Gabriel in 6th. They've Constantine up in behind, and there's Stefano down the inside of Flopman, trying to make a mistake in trying to force him in for a mistake. The OP man now under pressure from the FBO man at the end of lap 1. It's a rally in that leads. It's Flopman in second. It's Stefano there in third. And everyone as predicted is on that set of intermediate compounder tyres as they're still side by side down the straight. And Stefano backs off in towards turn 1.
Yeah, wisely Stefano backed out not to cause contact and also go side by side to turn 1 and not lose a lot of time as well. So on lap 1, it was a great battle between Devon and Gabriel because Gabriel got ahead of Devon, but Devon forced up the inside of turn 3 as they went side by side as Tom there making moves. He was in P11 momentarily. Now he's fighting one around the outside at turn 6. He's squeezed off the track. He's got a 3-second time penalty already in this race as well. So not going good there for Black Box and Tom. That probably is the reason why Black Box picked up a penalty as well, because it looks like they're getting immediate penalties. I don't believe they picked up warnings beforehand, surely not. But anyways, we're back on board with these top 3. They're ever so close. Flopman under pressure from Stefano. Stefano trying to force him. As here we are, then going into turn 1. Now we go.
No
He's
way.
actually going to go around the outside. No way he's done this. What an incredible move there from Stefano. But now, with a bad exit, Flopman might come back at him at turn 11. But Stefano maintains P2. What a lunge there from Stefano to have the confidence around the outside. Incredible racing there. I wouldn't have done it myself. But anyways, Gabriel is fighting Devon once again. Those two continuing their battle as Devon, for the time being, stays ahead of Gabriel. And he continues to put him under pressure for P5 as they were on lap 1. No DRS enabled due to these Inter conditions. But it looks like Flopman's looking for revenge now, trying to force one up on Stefano, but too far back to do so. So Stefano looking great and confident there. We've got Paul, who's out of shape, I think, into the final corner. I think that's one who's out of shape, and he's lost a place towards Sergio. And now, alongside him, here comes Tony up the inside, but he really loves the brakes. One almost goes off the track there, but keeps it for the time being. A few cars squirming coming out of turn 1 as Lucas now has been demoted and I think been overtaken by ETA Dark.
Yeah, and speaking of squirming, he was squirming out of turn number 1. There was Lucas. In the end, though, Stefano and Flopman. How on earth Stefano pulled that one off, I do not know. Could have ended up spinning around. Indeed, love is in the air from Stefano there into second position. Flopman there in third. You will get that, by the way, if you're a music fan and you're also Australian. There's a rally in their lead from Stefano second, Flopman there in third. Luca got on Devon 4th and 5th, and now tracking in the slipstream further down the field is Tom on the back of Lucas. Lucas there in 8th position with G League doing a good job at this early stage of the race. We've hardly seen any contact. We may have seen it off screen, but we've hardly seen any contact between these guys. It's been fair, all fair and love and war, which is really good to see. YCA now on the back of Sergio, coming out the right-hander of turn number 10, into the right-hander now of turn number 11 at the Ascari corner, not to be confused, of course, with the Ascari in the at the corner in Monza. There is a dive there from Tom to the inside line on Lucas, and that is forcing the driver off track, and he's going to let him go. And I think Paulie realised that. Tom was letting him back through. Lucas, though, all out of shape once again. Tom will try and get the switch back through the final corner. The gravel on those tyres not working, especially with this wet compound. And Tom giving the weave there, saying, sorry for that, I shouldn't have meant that. And Tom there stays in 9th. Lucas there in 8th. And that will not go to the stewards unless it's reported. And to be fair, Tom did the right thing. And that was sportsmanship. And that was Lucas, all out of shape, coming down to turn number 2. And now Tom, once again, in toward Whitefoot Complex at turn number 3. Going to try and get the job done. Sergio, though, absolutely late on the brakes. Rear locks in towards turn number 3. That was never going to work from the ET8 man. And his teammates just followed him off as well and behind. That's Dark, I think, in the wall. Maybe with a bit of right to end plate damage on the car. He's got away with it if he has. But Dark there in 20th. Both ET8 drivers finding trouble. One spins. They are spinning around like Carly Minogue. Goodness me.
Yeah, same spin in
and
the
it's
same
Stefano
corner
for the race
from both
lead.
ET8. Oh yeah, Stefano then making it. I was watching all that. Stefano's going side by side with Aurelian. Is he about to pull a one? No, he can't. He was about to pull one off, but Aurelian kept him at bay, and he maintains P1. So Stefano's got some great pace here tonight, making moves in unconventional overtakes. You don't really see in the dry. You can see him double locking the brakes there as Flotman gets very close, just squirming for traction out of the corner too. As we're starting to see some gaps open up in the midfield too. So this is DRS is enabled. So that's gonna add something new as well, with all the drivers being more drawn together. So whoever's outside of 1 DRS range, it'll be definitely costly. I think it's started to dry up, so we might see some pit stops very shortly in this race too. But Stefano with those lunges around the outside, Paul's in the pit lane, so let's see what tyre he decides to go on. Is it a bit too early? Let's see.
Is it damage? Or has the rain stopped, actually? The rain is looking like it's stopping out on track. Paulie's into the pit lane. This cannot be for a set of dry compound tyres. It is! It's for a set of mediums. The rain is stopping out on track, but it's still absolutely damp as anything. This is way too early for them to come in the pit lane. Bray is fun coming out of turn number 1. He's got left side end plate damage on the car as well. XE Esports there dropping towards the back end of the field. Certainly from the Maltese man's perspective. And Shock's in trouble as well. Dark's in trouble coming out of turn number 3. They're all spinning around out on track at this moment in time. Aurelio leads. Stefano second. Flopman there in third. There is not much fight, I've got to be honest, kicking up from these guys. The biggest indicator will be is Stefano on the outside line of Aurelio and gets the job done for the race lead. The FBR man is through on the PSR man. Flopman there in third is going to try and wait. But these guys are taking it so much more tentatively actually on this lap around. The rain is stopping out on track. It's barely dribs and drabs and just spots. Once this rain actually goes, this track is going to dry very quick. So we should see a transition to dries very, very quickly indeed. Possibly around lap 8, lap 9.
What about the two teammates of OP Flotman and Luca Carter? What are they going to do as they continue to circulate once again? So they're not going to go in the pit lane. Luca is in the pit lane then. So I'm quite intrigued to know how the track conditions. Needs to keep an eye on Lucas's pace. Lucas is on the soft compound tyres.
Yeah, rain stopped actually in the pit lane, just right on board with Luca Kart. Sorry to cut you off there, but everyone is now filtering in. We were not too far away, I think, from the crossover period. Is that, I think, what is happening out on track? Shocks, they're continuing on. I think everyone that has continued on in a set of inters, I think they've done the right thing. They've gone that lap extra. These tyres are not that good at this stage. We've seen Dark going on a set of hards, for example. Black Box also going on a set of hards. Majority of the field going either mediums or softs. Urpek there, interestingly, going for a set of soft. But Paulie has gained so many positions. He's pretty much came out, though, exactly where he was. He's ahead of YCN. Lucas and Black Box are side by side, coming pretty much out the pit lane as well. So Lucas now up to 13th. He's made good ground on those tyres. But the track has dried so much quicker. It's still not possibly, in terms of intermediate conditions, it's still favouring Inters for now, as Gabriel's through on Devon for fourth and fifth position. But everyone that has slayed out, I think, a lap extra on a set of Inters, I think has done the right thing, as Tom has got another 3-second penalty, and that is for a slight wide moment coming out of turn number 10, I think that was.
Yeah, also, Flotman went off the track at turn number 1. He just outbroke himself. But I can see the gap going down constantly from Stefano to Luca Carr. So pit lane immediately as they swerve through the pit lane too. So let's see, as the top 5, everybody will be in the pit lane who's still on the inters. No! Let's see Luca Carr made the right choice. What happened there?
Gabriel nearly into the back of Flopman. Flopman went early coming into the pit lane. He broke early coming into the pit, and Gabriel's just nearly ran into the back of him. It was shades of Qatar back in the day in terms of PSGL. Luca Kart, by the way, is the one potentially that's going to lead this race. Stefano there is in the lead coming out of the pit lane. There's Luca Kart in second. Medium compound tyres clearly working for him. He's there in second. Aurelian there in third. OP. I think they played an absolute blinder there. Urpek's going to be let through by Gabriel, so Gabriel down to sixth. Urpek there up to fifth, and he's on that fresh set of softs. But look at how tentatively they're still going on this set of drives. Once they get up to speed, they'll be absolutely fine. Stefano they're leading, Luca Kart second, and Rally in there in third. The pit stops have happened very early, and we should be in for drive running, I think, towards the end of the race.
Yeah, as you can see, Aurelian there on the hard compound tyre is about to be overtaken by Flotman as they go wheel to wheel now. With Flotman having the DRS, will Aurelian get swallowed up? Yes, he will, by Gabriel as well. Further up the field, OP Luca Kart has overtaken Stefano. That's the main place to overtake, it seems, as Aurelian there looks like he's down into P5 now, with Urpek capitalising on those soft compound tyres. Now he's on the back of Flotman then. They're going some wheel to wheel as we head down into turn 11. Aurelian's been overtaken by Gabriel. Urpek, can he make it on the brakes? Yes, he can. Just almost outbreak himself there, but he's made up a few positions as Urpek into P3, as you expect on those soft compound tyres. So clearly a two-stop strategy for him, as the rest, well, some of them are mediums and some of them are hard. So let's see which tyre is the best towards the end, because I don't know if that two-stop's going to work for Urpek. He's going to have to make up a lot of ground, as Luca Kart has set the fastest lap of the race. Well, I think mediums can make it to the end, but there'll be a massive stretch, so we'll have to watch out for those mediums dropping off towards the end.
It could be 3 wide down the straight as well. Tony's got to be very careful on the back of Devon and Blackbox there, side by side towards turn number 1. Barely any contact between them. Tony could get the switch back, and now it's 3 wide down and towards Whitefoot corner at turn number 3. Hold your breath, everyone. Here is Aurelian now. Devon getting absolutely swallowed up. Blackbox. Devon through, he's into 12. Blackbox getting swallowed up there in 13. Tony there in 14. Phenomenal racing up and down the field. These guys absolutely on the edge, on the limit. It is bloody brilliant to watch. It's like Legacy Division last night. I thought we topped it from Legacy Division. We could potentially top it here. Hugo getting a 3-second penalty. But Luca Kart leads. Stefano there in second. And now Flopman goes for third on Urpek in towards turns 9 and 10. Very much an overtaking hotspot now out on track. I pulled off a few moves there in my league racing around here as well. And Gabriel, I think that is a tactic from NLR. Maybe to put a Aurelian on the back foot. Urpek there on the set of softs, clearly feeling he hasn't got the pace now. And now it's up to Gabriel to try and close up on the back of Flopman. And maybe go too wide and towards turn 1. But I don't think that is going to happen for now. But Luca Kart leading, Stefano there in second. Set of hards at the minute and not coming into play. But if you're Stefano, you're laughing all the way to the bank at this stage, because they're going to be so much better towards the end.
Yeah, the hard compound tyres are the most durable tyres out of the 3. All 3 tyre compounds being used, all 4, including the inters as well. So the wet tyres, not the ones to use in this race whatsoever. But Stefano, if he can hold on to Luca Kart, which he should do with the power of the DRS. So, like you said, he'll be laughing all the way to the bank towards the end once those hard compound tyres will start to come into play. He's still hanging to the back of the DRS, but you can see they're having to use a lot of battery to do so. But as long as he can stay on the back of that car, he should be in a sweet spot later on in the race to try and hunt down Luca Kart and overtake on the track. Our Flopman there with a big DRS train right behind him, with Gabriel, Urpek, and our former race leader, Aurelian, who's down into P6 now. So staying out there a bit of one lap later has cost him, and he's fallen down into that P6, unfortunately. That midfield fight we need to keep talking about, because back in the Silverstone Grand Prix, with the top 5 were fighting, it was quite hard to keep it on the top. The guys at the bottom. So there's a lot of battles going on. Look at that! Oh, contact as well. He stays on the track. Wow, he stays on the track despite making contact with the side of the rear of the tyre with one there. So that was super close to being a spin. But Black Box has overtaken Tony. He moves himself now up into P12. So getting very close and spicy in that midfield there, with Tom putting pressure on Paul as well for P7 in their own personal scraps. As Lucas was also on the soft compound tyres. You can see there, Tony's outbroke himself. I think he just gave away 2 positions towards Black Box and Devon then. So it looks like he's struggling down at turn 13. I've seen quite a few people breaking themselves down at turn 13. It's quite a difficult breaking zone indeed. It's very easy to lock the rears up, like in turn number 3 as well, as I've done so plenty of times in the past. As ETA Dark sets the fastest lap of the race as well. Not in the position he wants to be whatsoever in that race down there. So unfortunately, and a difficult race is ETA Dark. He's also the soft compound tyres too, so they won't go the distance. Have to make another pit stop on him. Same with Urpek down there in P5. Letting his teammate go to allow him to fight with Flotman and potentially keep Aurelian at bay in P6.
Yeah, definitely so. Set of Hards, by the way, now beginning to come into play. We've got Stefano on the back of Luca Kart running all the way down the straight there. We've got a move as well. This is Lucas, I think, and Lucas. This is going to be interesting for me in commentary. YCN right on the back of these guys as well. But Lucas and Lucas are side by side in towards turn 9 and 10. Doesn't get the job done in the end, Lucas, but Lucas is in through into 9. Now YCN up on the inside line, trying to look through the kink of turn number 10, in towards the right-hander of turn number 11 at Ascari. Can he get the job done? Yes, he can. Beautiful move by the G League man, and he's through and he's into 10th, but Lucas now split by the G League man of YCN. Lucas there in 11th. Great moving out on track. Difficult for me as the commentator to try and say that very quickly, but Luca Kart leading Stefano there in second. Stefano all over the back, and you can save up his ERS management at this stage. He's doing a good job. Tom again getting within slipstream range of Paulie, gets the job done this time in towards turn 1. He was having a little bit of a play with him on the last lap around, just like a cat with a mouse, basically, just batting it about and having a bit of a play. But Tom there and through, he's into 7th. He's not going to be playing around for much longer because the set of Hards now coming into play as Blackbox and Devon nearly getting forced off track there, I think, by Blackbox. I'm not sure if there was a little bit of secondary contact in that, but Blackbox and, Devon and Tony are side by side. Macho now side by side as well, with Tony in towards turn number 6. Not going to go for that move, my friend. Flopman, though, going for the move on Gabriel. Trying to flick back up as soon as we can to 3rd position, and Flopman through and he's into 3rd as well. The front 2 lead from Flopman and Gabriel, 2.5 seconds. With the penalties currently, 6 seconds for Tom, 6 seconds for Blackbox. The rest on 3, Tony, Hugo, Doc, and Bray. That is your running order at this stage in terms of the penalties, and that is a mistake from Flopman. He's under pressure again from Gabriel coming through the latter part of the track.
Yeah, same for Luca Kart, who also went out wide at turn 1. It looks like Stefano tried to follow his line, but had to bail out of it just in case a bit of a warning on the exit. So you can see there both OP drivers just struggling there with guys right behind him. Stefano putting immense pressures. Luca Kart is not able to pull away, and he won't do now. As you can see, Flotman sets the fastest lap of the race, just trying to pull ahead. They've dropped Erpek and Aurelien, so Aurelien has to get a move on if he wants to stick with this battle between Flotman and Gabriel. Our former race leader now has overtaken Erpek as he moves himself up into P5. So I suspect Erpek's tyres might be just reaching the end of their peak performance. So he might see in the pit lane soon, because you don't want to lose a lot of time as Erpek. So different strategy there, whether he meant to or not, I'm not quite sure, but maybe it's to help his teammate there in P4. Looks like he's got a better pace as well, but the gap between Aurelien and Gabriel is 1.3, so him without having DRS, looks like Stefano is so close. Yes, he's about to make a move for the race lead, and he moves himself up into P1. Does Stefano then? So Stefano's on a great charge. I think that's 3 times we've seen him do a move into turn number 9 or before it as well. But you can see Paul and Tom switching places once again, as Lucas, 1CN and Blackbox have all caught up right behind too. So a big DRS train there, as the battle between those guys will continue all the way through. So Luca Carter then, can he stick with the hard runner of Stefano in P1, who's done a great job so far and have shown some great pace. But unfortunate for Devon, I must say, P14 have got caught out, I think, early stage, actually off the track as well at turn 11, and Tony let him go.
Yeah, contact, I think, between Tony and Devon coming through the right-hander at turn number 11. And that is Hugo having a huge lag spike. And I think he might be leaving the session if he's not too careful. I think he's got the car back going again, but that was a huge lag spike there from the WSC man at the stage. Paulie there on the back of Tom. Tom there currently sitting in P7, with Paul there in P8 and Lucas there in P9. Looks the outside line now in toward Whitefoot corner and the complex at turn 3, 4 and 5. Tries to go all the way around the outside. He's on 2 lap pressure mediums. Will they work? Yes, they will. Beautiful move by the G League man. And now YCN's going to try and filter in the mix as well. The sun now out here in the world down under. Stefano there leading, Luca Kart in second, Flopman there in third. The gap is closing between third and fourth and first and second, so that's going to be interesting. Gabriel as well, trying to look again for the move on the back of Flopman, not interested this time around. But one thing, you mentioned it there with Erpek Softs. Erpek Softs don't appear to be going off, as Gabriel there has left the session. Hopefully we can get him back in very soon indeed. I will make a note of that as well, just for the stewards. That is Gabriel leaving the session there, with YCN on the back of Paul. While you do that, YCN to the inside line on Paul, in towards turn number 11. Trying to get the job done to the inside line. Going to fight this aggressively through turn number 12. And that is fighting it too aggressively from YCN. And that is PGS going to be reported him for that. And in the end, YCN through to 9th, Blackbox and 10th, Paul in 11th. And Paul did not deserve that whatsoever. with being forced off track. Hopefully we will get that invite out. But you mentioned there, with Urpek on his set of softs, Lucas is into the pit lane, set of soft compound tyre. The tyre wear on the F1 World Car, if it's anything like last night in Legacy Division, we could be seeing mandatory 2 stops for majority of the drivers out on track. Set of hard runners I think are fine. Medium runners are going to be very tense towards the end. But with the higher tyre wear, this is going to be a problem, especially towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it is as well. I've not really raced the multiplayer cars ever since the beginning of the game, so I don't have really an indication to them. But I've invited Gabriel back as well. Urpek in P5 and a sauce will start to fade away too, but they've dropped. Looks like Flotman's dropped now already, and the gap is 2.2. Bear in mind, Gabriel was in that equation. Hopefully, Flotman there just had a bit of an oversteer for that turn number. I think it was turn number 10 as Luca Carr putting pressure on Stefano. So with the helping hand of the DRS, Stefano is not able to pull away from Luca Carr because the DRS is dragging him in. So as long as he's in that DRS, he should be fine. But later on, it's going to get very spicy between the two. If Luca Carr doesn't have to make that 2-stop, and also if safety cars come in the equation as Luke Haas is under pressure from Yazoo. Tommy outbreaks himself there. And he almost in the back of him too, had to take avoiding action as Luca Carr once again, he's about to make an overtake. He's coming out of turn 1 now with the DRS. He saved up a lot of battery too because he was quite low when he got attacked by Stefano. But staying a few laps behind, able to regenerate the battery, has enabled him to put the charge on once again. One picks up a penalty. He went deep out of turn 1 and turn 2. Stefano picks up a 3-second time penalty then. So that's changed a lot of things now in this race. Gabriel is dropping down like a stone because he's not back in the session. I've invited him back, but maybe his internet has called it quits for the day. But yeah, that's crucial there for Stefano in P1. Is on the huge pressure now.
Yeah, and here comes Luca Gart to the inside line. Down Lakeside Drive we come in towards the left-hand return number 9. It's Luca Gart through into the race lead. That could change the complexion of the race. What could also change, though, is Urpek on a rally, and he has got the move done up into 4. So maybe he saved the softs a little bit back. We've seen Paul there come into the pit lane as well. Ontra set a hard compound tyre. So maybe it is the case where we are seeing the mandatory 2-stop. Tom there. Was that a move around the outside there from YCN? That would have been insane. I missed that slightly, but YCN is through on Tom regardless. He's through and he's into 7th. Tom there down into 8th position. Luca got now applying the pressure. Stefano there in 2nd. Flopman in 3rd. Urpek now on with a rally in 4th and 5th. I'm a little bit surprised that Urpek's not coming into the pit lane unless he wants to do soft, which is what I think he's going to do for the NLR man. And it's going to be a complete role reversal to what happened last night in Legacy Division. He will be the quickest man out on the track if that is the case. And if other drivers do not come in, of course, to the pit lane later on. Charlie there saying in the chat, saying hoi hoi to you. Charlie, hope you're doing very well indeed. Lap 16 out of 29 with no PSGL PCF1 on, by the way. I would have expected a few more viewers. But Macho there getting the job done on Gabriel's AI. Gabriel has not joined the session. He has had internet issues in the past in F2, and that might have come back to bite him on the bum cheeks. I think they're down in 11th position. But Luca Gart leading, Stefano there in 2nd, 6/10 of a second currently separating the top 2. Flopman there in 3rd. 80% of ERS. OP, I think, are the ones to cook something here. They're 1st and 3rd. They've got Luca Card up the road. Flopman's got more ERS than Luca Card at this stage. He's got much more than Stefano, about double the amount of ERS as YCN and Tom. Going to cut myself off. We're side by side coming into the chicane there, and Tom is going to now run on the back of YCN in towards now the left-hander, or the right-hander even, of turn number 11. But you can't get the job done because that would have been a block effect going on there from the G League guys, and G League know what they're doing in terms of their plan and try and bring Tom and Black Box into play as Urpek is in to the pit lane. Set of softs has lasted him 11 laps. I would not be surprised if he goes on another set of softs, but I think it'll be mediums.
I think it might be mediums because I don't think he has another set of softs at his disposal after qualifying. But one is up into P5 ahead of Lucas. Those guys have been squabbling very intense there from those guys. 2 laps ago made an incredible move and an audacious move on Tom down the inside of turn 9. They both had DRS, and here comes Tom on Lucas then into turn number 3. Great lunge, but Lucas is still around the outside, now converged into the inside line, and Tom doesn't have enough space to go around the outside. So I thought he had it done, but Lucas still has the traction and the grip to go around the outside. You can see that Tom has a lot of ERS. His ERS management in any race is incredible, even if he is struggling or not. But he's got a lot of ERS and more combined than the 2 ahead of him too, so we can use that later on in the race with PSR Black Box following too. Yellow flags is set to 1, and I think somebody's gone for a spin down there Yeah, Bray in P20 after, well, he scored points no matter what position he went from P1 to P20, so it's very crucial not to retire. Even though it's attempting to retire on the track, which is so far behind, you could stay there just in case as a safety car or just pick up that few points. But yeah, one's move on Tom, down the inside at turn 9 was incredible, despite Tom having that DRS on the back of Lucas. But yeah, those guys have been squabbling so hard. It's been incredible to watch. It's Erpek into P13 then with a few cars ahead of him on all the tires, so he needs to make his way, chop through these guys very quickly, so just to lose a lot of time. As Lucas and Tom once again fighting, and Lucas is in the pit lane then to change on the bonus set of mediums, I think.
Yeah, another set of mediums on for the G League man. Not surprised, he's going to be behind Erpek. There is Erpek actually passing Sergio down the straight in towards turn number 1. So he's through and he's in for 11th. He's got now about 3 seconds of clean air ahead of him before we get to Tony. He's going to be there in absolutely no time, the NLR man. He's absolutely charging out on track. He is looking maybe for the big undercut. The mediums are not lasting as well as what I would have hoped. I said optimal around 15 laps around here. On the set of mediums, as Stefano overtakes Luca Cart for the race lead in towards turn 9 and 10. I swear that is Stefano's favourite place to overtake here tonight. Luca Cart potentially in towards turn number 11 is going to come back at him, but I think the OP man not interested. But OP now, with Lucas into the pit lane for PGS, I think OP are going to split the strategies. And if I'm not mistaken here, I think if OP do want to split the strategies and they do want to make a pit stop, it's Luca Cart first, Flopman second, and Stefano's ran wide in towards turn number 11, and that is Luca Cart now into the lead of the race. Scrap what I've just said. Stefano has a huge mistake through in towards turn number 13 at cross corner. Luca Cart now leads, Stefano second, Flopman in third, and it is very rare of a driver of that caliber, Stefano, to make a mistake like that. Very rare indeed.
Yeah, it is. And now Flopman has been gaining and gaining ever since those two have been battling. He was like 2.5 seconds away a few laps before, and now he's 1.3. He was almost in DRS range, but him not being in DRS range at the detection point at the final corner actually dropped him outside of it. But let's see if he can get himself in it. In fact, I'm on gap to leader, sorry. So the gap is 7 tenths now. I was just keeping an eye on Erpek's pace. So Erpek's in P9 right behind Tony too. So he's trying to make his way through these cars as we're heading into turn 4 with him. But yeah, these three will constantly trade positions now as Flopman's had a lot of pace. What about Aurelian in P4 there? Will his hard compound tyres come into play later on? Stefano should be, but what about Aurelian? Can he join this battle? It's quite far away. 4.7 is the gap. And OP Stefano says, puncher for OP, says Stefano. And that's a different Stefano, not the one you're seeing in FBR. So yeah, a different Stefano's here as Erpek has made a move on Tony. I was so confused, by the way, when I saw the name Stefano pop in the chat, but I realised it's the OP one, not the FVR one.
And they are going to split the strategies because both of them are into the pit lane. They must have realised they're not in the same garage, which is very handy, I've got to be honest. So that is Luca Cart in, Flopman in. Flopman is at the start of the pit lane. Luca Cart is at the end of the pit lane. So that is good from an OP perspective. Set of softs for Luca Cart. Okay. This is interesting. Luca Cart, the threat of puncture there, that could be why. Luca Cart on a set of softs, Flopman on a set of mediums. Very bold from Luca Cart, but I think he's got to do that because there's Devon and Erpek just coming out the pit lane right in behind them. And look at Flopman ahead. Here comes Erpek, potentially to get both of them in the space of about 2 corners. Erpek's through on Devon. Devon not fighting that at all. He's into the pit lane and Erpek's nearly into the back of Flopman. My goodness me, that was late on the brakes there. Just about keeps his front wing intact. Just about keeps himself in the race as well. Erpek there on the back of Flopman. Luca Cart, though, now 2 seconds clear of Flopman in what we could call the net lead of the race, because Stefano can get to the end, Aurelian can get to the end if they're careful on their tyres. So can Tom, so can Blackbox. But I think Tom and Blackbox, because of these set of softs and the mediums, they're going to be so much quicker than everyone else. These guys on a set of hards potentially just going to be eaten up by everyone who's on quicker tyres.
Well, I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Can they close the gap towards the end? Can it be like a 2 Mercedes catching Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris? But let's see what happens then. And Erpek there into P7 after doing his undercut. He's right behind Flopman, but Luca Cart as well. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting and spicy towards the end. I'm keeping an eye on the gap to leader as well because it was in 17, it's now in 15.8. So he'll gain rapidly. But with those guys having penalties ahead, it could help him too. But we'll see. Already in the P2, the gap is 6.3. So I think he's a 1. The gap between those two is like 9 seconds, I think, Luca Cart and Aurelian. So could he catch him? I'm not quite sure. But the race is on towards the end with different tyre strategies. What strategy has worked better? Was he going on the hards after the intermediates? Was it going on the softs like we saw with Erpek there, or was it going on the mediums like majority of them? So we're about to see which strategy all three tyre compounds being used in this race, and I don't know which one
Oh
is the
my
best, but
god!
we'll find a little more between Paul, Lucas, Sergio, Hugo, and YC1CN as well. With Luke Haas going around the outside too. I just flicked on board with them. They were almost like five
Oh,
cars in one
Hugo!
shot, all close together.
Hugo, I think, has got a slow puncture on the rear right compound of tyre on 15-lap-old mediums. If he hasn't, he is very slow. I'm not sure if he's got a little bit of damage potentially on the car. It's one of the two. Luca got, by the way, is side by side with Tom, coming out through turn 9 and 10, and now in towards turn number 11. He's going to go 3 wide in towards the corner. Tom outbreaks himself, and Luca Kart gets them both. Brilliant stuff by the OP man. He's through and he's into third. Needed that, he did. Luca got third and he's into third. Tom, to be fair, also got Black Box. You have to feel sorry for Black Box. If you believe in him now, don't, because he's just been done like an absolute kipper. Flopman as well, on the back of Black Box. OP are cooking. Luca got third and he's into third. Amazing stuff into turn 11.
Now it's Flotman's turn. Will it be easier like it was for Luca Carr? Because opportunities like that don't usually open up. Now Flotman's all over the back of Black Box, so let's see if he's late on the brakes there. You can see Flotman just trying to go around the outside now. Has to switch back with better traction. Make contact slightly with the end plate towards the right front tyre, but thankfully no damage to sustain. So got to do it once again. He should be much quicker now than the Alfa Romeo. Oh, sorry, with Black Box there in P5. He should get him with the DRS. Then it's Tom's turn. Then Luca Carr will be pressurised in Orlean, and the gap is about 5.5 between those two. You can see Flotman now alongside, almost alongside. They both have DRS now. Gaining the gain on the back of Tom.
God.
Tom's going to be swallowed. Make it 3 taking Tom, and also blaming contact as well. Going into turn 9 and turn 10, going to keep it nice and clean. You can see it pushed him through the corners there. And now Flotman's going to be putting pressure on Black Box. We can see Black Box has DRS due to 1 detection point for 2 DRS zones at turn 9, turn 10. He goes deep. Flotman will get the switch back.
Easy.
Goes alongside him, overtakes him. So Tom got swallowed up by both of them. Now Flotman's through, and now Black Box and Tom are left to squabble once again for P5 and P6. But what an incredible move there from Flotman, making it 3 abreast. Tom got absolutely swallowed up on that straight. You can see that we saw it in the past as well, with people getting swallowed up in league racing around there. It's very powerful, that DRS on that particular part of the circuit too. So that's very crucial for Flotman to make those moves and not get stuck behind those two on all the tyres. So the gap keeps falling down between Aurelien and Luca Carter. The gap is 3.7 now, so he is gaining and gaining. It's just a matter of time when he can catch up to him. And Aurelien, I don't think he has the tools to respond. He has a bit of ERS in his disposal, but not a lot. So I think when he catches up to him, it's going to be very difficult to defend. Then it's Stefano's turn next with a 3-second tablet. So Luca Carter, both OPs looking really good, but now with 6 laps to go, will they be able to catch him?
Will they be able to catch him indeed? Yes, 6 laps to go. Stefano leading the rally in second. Luca caught there in third. By the way, Tom, Black Box are going to go side by side, I think, in terms of this. They're not for now. But what I will say, that was personal between PSR and OP. That was Black Box at his finest. Me's probably telling them, you know what, park the bus on OP. We've got to do everything in our power to not let them go. He did everything in his power, and then Flopman just got him through turn number 11 and got the job done on him. So Black Box 11-6 did everything in his power with the tools that he had, but that was personal, as Erpek now going to try and look to the inside line. Speaking of Black Box, on the inside of him, through 12 and 13, now in towards the final corner. 14 just hasn't got the traction on the exit of the corner. He's got the ERS to play with, though, was Erpek on the back of Black Box, but that was definitely very personal between OP and PSR. They hate each other from Legacy Division, put it that way, and they're going to hate each other a hell of a lot more now if there's more contact between them both. As Erpek goes on the outside on a Black Box, and that is job done surely on the brakes from Erpek. And that is how you outmaster the F1 Esports Challengers man from a former F1 Esports Challengers man himself, Erpek through, and he's into 6th, and it's very good racing out on track as Luca Kart now within DRS range on the back of Aurelien. 3 seconds that gap was 2 laps ago, and now it is just the smidgen of 0.2 of a second, and now it's nothing because he goes to the inside line into turn 9. Aurelien can't fight that, and Luca Kart through, and he's into 2nd. And if Me's told Aurelien to fight that one, that was not good whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think Aurelio had anything to respond to that, so I think he just had to let him go simply and just accept the pain. So the gap is 7.4, well 4.4 due to that 3 second time penalty. So Luca Kart there just needs to get about 1.3 seconds to get himself in that DRS, in a few seconds to get himself in that penalty zone where Stefano's picked it up. So it's going to be tantalizingly close towards the end. 4 laps to go. The gap's going to continue to tumble down like it did with Aurelio. I can't imagine. I mean, I can't believe the amount of time Luca Kart gained on Aurelio. And the gap was like 3 seconds at one point, and it just tumbled down and overtaken him just like that. And the gap will tumble down between Stefano and Luca Kart too. So what about OP flopping down in P4? What can he do? Can he catch Aurelio towards the end on the medium compound tyres? Not as quick as his teammate is on the softs. But let's see later on if he's got that pace too to try and match his teammate and try and get Aurelio to make it a double podium for OP.
Yeah, definitely. So Stefano there saying it could be P2, 3, 4. Your own saying Luca Kart might win. It's going to come down to the wire. All Luca Kart needs, really, is another 3 seconds to gain. As long as he's within 3 seconds of Stefano come the end of the race, that is him done. My fear, though, is the tyres. These set of soft compound tyres, he has been going flat out on them for the last 5 or 6 laps. They're going to be at about 40% rate right now. And Luca Kart, you can tell the tyres are already beginning to blister. I'll just move the screen out of the way. On the rear right compound tyre, this is the tyre to watch out for more, especially around here in Australia. Already you can see a very, and I've got to say a very, very thin line. It's not against the naked eye whatsoever, but there's a very thin line going through the centre of the tyre. That already indicates a bit of blistering. If it's on the outside of the tower, it's above 30%. If it's through the middle of the tower, the middle of the tyre even, it is around 50%. At the minute, it is on the outside of the tyre, so it's more than 30%, probably around 35, 40%, I think, in terms of tyre wear right now. Luca Kart is still gaining time, which is good, but those tyres are going to go towards the end of this stint. Stefano, 6 seconds the gap. Luca Kart needs another 3 to come into play. And of course, FVR, if they feel that they can get that 3 second penalty removed, they will try above head and high water to try and get that done.
Yeah, Stefano will be very nervous about that gap going down under 3 seconds, though. Can he manage it? Like you said, the Flopman's overtaken Aurelio. I didn't even notice he caught him that quickly. That was unbelievable. So now it's a double OP podium. It's a question between first and second. What's the all going to be? Is it going to be Stefano or is it going to be Luca Kart? We'll find out towards the end. All Luca Kart needs is about 2.6 seconds to get himself in that DRS range. FVR cheering on Stefano and OP cheering as well. They get both cars on the podium. Great strategy calls from both of them to split strategies from softs to medium. So the gap is now 5.3. He gained a lot of time. Look at 5.1. He gained a lot of time in that last set. So 5 seconds now. So he needs 2 more. Stefano will be on the edge of his seat knowing that the hunt is on between himself and Luca Kart in P2, who is mighty quick as well at this stage of the race. 4.8. So I dare say he might get into, I think he'll definitely get him if he continues with this pace. If those soft compound tyres don't drop off dramatically towards the end, I dare say he should have this in the bag. But let's see if Stefano can do anything about it.
Phenomenal mid-pack battle going on, by the way, from the PGS boys and from both X Esports and G League to turn number 1, and that is a spin there for YCN. I've came on board them at the wrong time, haven't I? YCN has fun. Bit audacious, I've got to be honest, towards turn number 1. But again, Lucas could have left him a little bit more room there. That'll be an interesting one, I think, for the stewards to try and decipher in terms of that. But Lucas there in 12th. Tony now through and into 11th as a result. The gap 4.4 out in front for Stefano. He's hanging on for grim life. Will the tyres puncture towards the end of the race? This is what we haven't talked about either. His tyres potentially going towards the end of the race. If Stefano can find some life out of the tyres, it'll be around about now. These final 2 laps are absolutely crucial for the man from FBR. If you want dedication, by the way, Yaron in the chat saying he doesn't know. He's watching this from the gym. Very much dedication. I hope he's doing more bench weights, put it that way, for the sweat that is going to be coming from the FBR man in front of Stefano. Luca Kart there in 2nd. Flopman there in 3rd. Aurelio there in 4th. Doing a fantastic job at this stage, but Stefano leads 3.8 seconds. The inevitable looks like it's going to happen. Luca Kart, maybe the slightest chance he could even catch him before the end of the race. And it's only very slight, but it's 3.6 seconds the gap. He only needs 0.6 of a second. The way and the wear that Stefano has on his tyres and the wear that Luca Kart has on his tyres, Luca Kart's wear might be greater, but he's still catching. And that is going to really bring him into the race win scenario.
Yeah, ETA Dirk says that pretty sure OP will get the 1-2, so he thinks Flockman could still be in contention with this, and the gap between Flockman and Stefano is about 5.8. So, yes, if Flockman wants a podium, he needs to
Nah.
get about 2.7 seconds. And it's going to be nip and tuck, but it's going to be difficult to do that. I think, look, 3.2 now is the gap between Luca Kart and Stefano, so I definitely think Luca Kart has got this in the bag, unless he picks up the penalties himself, which he won't do because he only picked up one warning. So, I don't think that'll be the case. But yes, Stefano has done everything he could in his power. Unfortunately, with that 3-second time penalty there, and also Flockman fighting, we can see he made a slight mistake coming out turn 13, so the pressure's definitely on. And I thought he'd get DRS the back of that car of Gabriel there, but unfortunately he didn't. So just to get the extra speed he needs on the straight. But yeah, ETA Dirt says, yeah, I thought it was 4.6, not 5.6. Fair enough, ETA Dirt. We can all get our mathematics wrong. But yeah, but Flockman, they're too far away. P3 is still great. He's dropped all reeling. And Urpex in his own fight as well in P5, defending from Tom and Black Box. By the way, they're still together, Black Box and Thomas. They haven't left each other alone for quite some time now. But yeah, the gap is 2.5. I don't think he can overtake for the track because he's too far away. So yeah, Stefano, unlucky. He's done everything in his power to try and win this race, but that 3-second time penalty has just cost him towards the end. It's been a great race. It's lap 29 already, the last lap. I've enjoyed this race from start to end. We've seen a lot of good moves in place as well, especially Stefano at the outside line at turn number 9. But yeah, it's a great drive. Definitely should be proud of himself with the great pace he had. It's just a consistency with penalties that cost him today. Maybe get that removed depending if he had those warnings beforehand or not. Because as seen at turn 6, Black Box made a move at on Tom for P6. He'll get DRS next range, so I think he'll secure that P6 ahead of Tom. Strategic play there for Black Box to stay ahead of Tom. But over to you, James, to lead it off.
Yeah, definitely so. Stefano coming through the final couple of corners then. His tyres hanging on by an absolute grim thread. He's been all over the grass and everything. You can tell as Tom and Blackbox as Hugo picks up a penalty. But Stefano now on the run to the line. Wins in Australia, but it's Luca God who wins. Flopman will get second. Gets him by, I think, 0.3 of a second. 1/10 of a second in the end between Flopman and Stefano. Dirk certainly believed. I didn't, personally. I said nah about 2 laps ago, but Flopman there in second does get an OP1-2 provisionally, but FPR are going to look to try and get that 3-second penalty removed. Normally in EML, 3-second penalty not removed. I know there's a bit of a glitch in terms of some of the penalties. We saw this in Legacy Division last night as well, so there could be a case potentially there for the FPR man to put in. But Luca caught an OP, 1 and 2, and from being 19th and 20th last night, basically, in Legacy Division, pretty much the last 2 spots, and having an absolute mare, having both of their drivers DNFing, they've gone 1-2 tonight in EML. That is called bounce back, and that is called brilliance from OP.
Yeah, OP, phenomenal job as well. I saw the gap go down. I was looking in the final sector because the gap was like 3.3. Then he gained 0.4 on Stefano in the last sector alone. So I was trying to warn you that Flockman was on the way for a podium, well, for second place to make it a 1-2 because he was coming at him at a rate of knots. I didn't even know he would get a podium himself. So that pace he had at the end to make it a 1-2, OP should be very proud of their drivers tonight with the strategy calls from their teams and also the drivers deliver themselves. So great strategy call from both of them, one on the softs and one on the mediums, and it worked out in the end. A 2-stop around here at the Australian Grand Prix. So great job from all of them tonight. It's been a great race, and congratulations to OP. Consolation there for Stefano, but he'll bounce back stronger. I know he will. He's a strong driver, very quick driver too. So, and warnings is double at turn 4. I did see at turn 4, by the way, a few drivers picking up penalties instantly. So I think turn 4 might be investigated for a few drivers handing in their incident POVs, like Tom as well, because I saw him pick up an immediate 3-second time penalty. He tried to go around the outside or got forced on the outside, then picked up that penalty. He got 6 seconds anyway, so he might remove one but not the other.
Yeah, Black Box as well, same, lap 1. He went wide coming through turn number 4, and look what happened to him. Down in 6th position, 6 seconds worth of penalties, could get that one removed as well. There is a case there if they do want to do that. But it is Luca caught out on top from Flopman in second. These are provisional results, by the way, And this is better, by the way, than F2. F2 got cancelled tonight because of problems with the game, apparently. So we were very lucky to get underway and get everything on par. But Luca Kart wins from Flopman, in second. Stefano there in third. Aurelian there in fourth. The Nurpec in fifth. Blackbox in sixth. Tom in seventh. They had their own private ding-dong on the final lap of the race, which was good to see. Lucas, Paulie, and Macho top 10. Macho actually drove pretty well there for Shizou. Then Tony, Dark, Lucas, Sergio, YCN top 15. Shots, Hugo, Bray, Devon, and Gabriel. The only man, I think, to actually leave the session, I think it was more internet-related for him rather than us. So Gabriel there down at the back end of the field. But 19 drivers finishing in human mode, 1 in AI, and all 20 getting round, which is very, very good to see. Now, last week the interviews didn't work, and I have a feeling that these guys are not being given access to the chat again. So we might have to skip interviews. But what we can do is have a look through the calendar at what is to come, of course. And with it being a realistic Grand Prix that is happening this weekend, the Japan Grand Prix, of course, we go there next week in EML to Suzuka, a track that has caused a little bit of controversy in the past in EML, but it is a track nonetheless that promotes overtaking, some really good action, and maybe even some really, really close fighting as well. And we'll see from Japan what happens there. And Jamie, of course, round 3 next week in Suzuka. It's going to be more interesting, I think, than the first 2 rounds. But building on the first 2 rounds, we should see a good race.
Yeah, and also in real life as well. Next year, they're looking to start it very early, along with the Chinese Grand Prix, and to make it more sufficient for the economy too. So, yeah, Japanese Grand Prix can be very interesting. I've always liked that circuit. I think everybody likes that circuit. It's just an incredible track with the figure of 8 as well, and the bridge on top of it, leading on to turn number, I think it is 9. But yeah, it's an incredible track, and I can't wait to see. We've always had great racing there. Lots of action there too, with Frost and Senna at turn number 1. I think 1989, if I can get it right, and a year later when they came together at the penultimate corner. So a lot of history around that circuit. Championships have been won around that circuit too, with like Sebastian Vettel back in 2011, Michael Schumacher, and also I think Max Verstappen's done it too. I think last year, 2022. So championships have been won there too, despite it not being the last race of the season or near towards the end of the season too. So that shows their dominance those seasons.
Yeah, I've just said to the guys in chat, if they are able to, then see. Hopefully Stefano will be able to join us for an interview. Now, this is going to be pretty difficult, I think, if the drivers have not got access to the comms boxes. This is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, I think, to try and get them in. But Stefano has said he is up for an interview, so hopefully we can get it in some form or another. Blackbox saying apparently he got 7 warnings in 1 corner. That is unbelievable, but believable, I think, at the same time from Blackbox. He was saying that in the Discord. Stefano was saying party or on a call on Discord. We could call him potentially, if that works. If I call you on Discord, it might be a bit difficult for the stream, but if I mute us for a quick second and then find it back, shall we try it?
You could try it. I'm not fussed.
We can try it. We'll try it. I'll tell you what, Flopman saying his English is very bad. That's perfectly flying Flopman. A great result, of course, finishing there in P2 from the former G League man, of course, for OP getting there in second. Right, bear with us. We're going to go intermission. We're going to mute our mics and we're going to talk behind the scenes. Hopefully we can get Stefano in. If not, you'll just hear us two again. But we'll be back with you in about a minute's time or so. Right, you guys can hear me on stream. I am waiting for Mr. Jamie Norris to call me on Discord. Hopefully, he will be here very soon indeed, and we can get Stefano in from an interview. But hopefully, we can get the interview going very soon indeed. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add them to a group. I'm gonna mute my mic again. Bear with. Yeah, this is a lot harder than what I planned it to be in my head, but hopefully we will get there very soon indeed. I am waiting on Mr. Indigo to accept my friend request on Discord and add everyone into a group DM and then try and call from there. See if that works. If it doesn't, we will scrap the interviews and we'll scrap them for the rest of the season, if that as well. But what I can do is try and call Mr. Stefano on Discord. Bear with me. This is going to be so awkward. You can tell. Right, there we are. I think he's here. That should work now, hopefully. Mr. FBR Stefano, can you hear me? You can hear me. Fantastic. Oh my word, that was a lot of trouble we had to go through to do that, but there we are. Of course, P1 out on track in the end. That third position in the end for you, out on track. Talk us through it, and of course, talk us through your removal potentially for that 3-second penalty.
Finally got a bit more practice than usual, and it pays off. So that's good to see. And the 3 seconds will be removed because I think it's turn 4. At the exit, I took like a double warning because there's normally a glitch in that corner. But yeah, first stint or on the inters went pretty well. Um, on lap 2, I think I got like the overtake on Flopman, I think so. For P2, and then I straight away saw that I had good pace, maybe the best pace on track. So when the DRS was enabled on the inters, I went for the move on Aurelian and tried to break him, and it worked. But we pitted a bit later than we had to because we didn't know if the track would have been dry enough for slicks. And then Luca Kart came in front of me with new mediums. I tried to stick in his DRS when he got past me, and I stayed in, so that was crucial. And after staying quite a few laps behind him, Flopman behind me.
Oh, bear with. Hang on. Apologies. Sorry, Stefano.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on. Continue on.
Yeah. So Flopman behind me got back in the DRS after gaining 3 seconds, and then around lap 19 or 18, I don't know. I saw that they both went into the pits, and I was a bit confused because I thought they were gonna finish the race on the mediums, but I think they wouldn't make it with tire percentage. So at that point, I had like a 5 second lead to Aurelian. At the end, it was like 7.5 seconds until the soft runner came, and I think Luca Kart in the end was like 1.5 seconds. But yeah, luckily the penalty can be removed. That was my race.
Yeah, and a fantastic race at that as well. You mentioned that you had good pace as well. That was definitely on show within the second half of the race. You picked that to the hard compound of tyres early on. Was it a ploy by FER to pit you in that early, or did you feel confident in yourself to get to the end?
Now we pitted actually quite or like a lap later than the best point was to pit, because if you saw that Luca Kart undercut it like quite a few cars from where he was before the pit phase. But yeah, we knew that the Hearts would have make it to the end, and I knew I had good pace on them from practicing a lot.
Yeah, and you'd probably be thinking to yourself behind with Luca Kart catching you on that telesoft, probably thinking, God, just go away. I don't want you on my back end towards the end of the race. I don't
Yeah,
want you there.
yeah, I was pushing quite hard ERS just to stay on track in front of him. But I also had to keep in mind that if I took another warning, the 3 seconds couldn't been removed. So, but I kept only 2 warnings, so it can be removed.
Yeah, hopefully that 3 second penalty does get removed because, as I say, it's a bit like Urpec last night in Legacy Division. Very unlucky in terms of the racing, but still tried your best, and that's all you can do, I think, in the scenario like this.
Yeah.
Mr. Jamie Norris, any questions?
Yeah, my last name is Morris, mate, not Norris.
Norris, yeah. Oh, Jimmy Morris,
Morris.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I noticed you said that. I'm not Lando Norris's brother. But anyways, Stefano, I think you drove a great race. You pulled off some monumental moves around the outside, I think, at turn 9. That was great. So your confidence in the wet is great as well. Is it your
Mhm.
strongest points, the wet conditions?
Yeah, normally I'm pretty good around track, wet track. I think intermediates I have the most pace on, the most confidence. And yeah, the car felt great compared to the others because I saw them having much oversteer, understeer, and I just kept it between the lines and went as hard as I could. So yeah.
If we were to rerun this race, and what would you change during this race?
First of all, I think not taking a stupid double warning, because yeah, I don't know. It's like I didn't take the warning because I went too quickly. I just didn't turn enough with my steering wheel, so it went a bit automatically. But I think pitting 1 lap earlier with the inters, 2 slicks, I think that's the biggest thing I would have changed.
And if you are racing for Japan, how do you feel for that track? Are you strong at that track?
Yeah, I like Japan a lot. Had quite a lot league races in the past in Japan, so if I'll drive there, you can expect probably good points, maybe podium. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Congrats on the podium. I'm looking in the win, mate,
Thank you.
but yet again, you had a strong pace.
Thanks.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
congratulations as well, Stefano. Go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you. You guys as well.
You are very
Cheers, mate.
welcome indeed. And that rounds off. We eventually got there, by the way, in terms of the interviews, but we got there in the end, which is really good. And Stefano can leave this call, by the way. Jamie, you can stay here with us. But of course, we do have Japan next week, which is going to be really intriguing indeed. And that should bring a hell of a lot of good racing once again. First 2 races of the season, even with the multiplayer car this tonight. Definitely good for the league going forward for EML, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. We're going to be seeing you in a week's time, of course, in Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix, but until then, I've been James Head, he's been Jamie Morris, even though you can't see him. That is literally it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, and a word from our sponsors, of course, goodbye.